Hey guys, welcome back to the After Hours. I'm the ATL Beast, and today we'll talk about discretionary trading. So when we talk about 2024, what you really need to know is that things are different. Now, when we talk about different, we're talking about there is a different short squeeze. Now, the common short squeeze that we're used to in the past 5, maybe even 10 years is that you'll see the early shorts, they get squeezed from the pre-market as well as the first hour in the market. We understand that 30% of the volume is in the morning when it comes to penny stock. And because of that, we will see massive short squeezes. Now, these short squeezes between $5 to $10, you'll see them jump easily 100, 200, sometimes even 1,000%. The times of that happening are over because in 2021 and 2020, we saw an easy market. Now, when we talk about an easy market, you have to understand easy times make weak traders. Hard times make strong traders. Now, all that's left in 2024 is strong traders and algos. Now, when we look at these squeezes inside of 2024, we look at things like DWAC. Now, DWAC, everyone understood it as a meme stock. When we talk about these meme trades, most people are discretionary trading. What is discretionary trading? That's pretty much trading with your intuition. You have a basket of knowledge. From this basket of knowledge, you developed an insight. Now, this intuition, you use it as your guiding compass for your risk management, for your sizing potential, as well as when and where to enter and exit your trade. When we talk about discretionary trading, another key factor that you have to understand is when times are ideal and when they're not ideal. If you're willing to trade using your intuition, that's pretty easy if you only go after the ideal situations, because if you handle the same thing every time, you can establish some form of consistency, and the consistency will easily improve your skills over time. But what ends up happening is the noobs, the new people, they come into the market. They understand that you can make a lot of money in a short amount of time if you oversize, if you guess correctly. Everyone had that same thought in their first year. I'm going to guess the top and I'm going to guess the bottom. And that's the only thing I want to practice. But if you're the type of trader that did that and you made it into your second year, later you realize that was the wrong approach. Now, everything I just described is pretty much a discretionary trader. It's a person that leads by their emotions. Every day is a little different and they like to chase non-ideal setups. Now, when we talk about setups that are perfect to trade, honestly, there's no perfect setup. There's only the setup that's right for you in the moment. Whenever we deal with a non-ideal stock, we need to know that we need to size down. We need to have some sort of risk management as well as a hard stop. Without that, you're not even trading in the first place. You are literally gambling. So with discretionary trading, it's not all bad. Discretionary trading is more of a stage. You usually go through 4 stages when you first start trading. There's a stage where you know nothing and all you have to do is pick up what you're putting down. But in the beginning, you know nothing. You are a blank sheet. And so you need to pick up everything. Well, you can also pick up all the insecurities and anxieties that come from each of those methods. So instead, the best option is to focus on one thing, to mastery. And once you master every aspect of that pattern, of that risk management, and that position size, you gain a level. Then you can actually move forward. If you take on more than you can chew, it's very easy for you to lose confidence. Now, here's a few lessons that I learned in my first year of trading. Mine was backed by a lot of years of knowledge. I've been in the market since 2014. In those times that I was in the market, I traded, but I didn't trade very aggressively. I didn't trade with a lot of money. At the time, I was more of just following what my friend would do. Or if I would trade with a discretionary style. And because I wasn't using money that was going to pay the bills, I kind of treated it as a game. But when it came to serious trading, when I had more people watching me and I had the live stream, things became a little different. So during your first year, it's just as important to pull the trigger as it is to keep a journal of all your mistakes and statistics related to your trading. At some point, I was always feeling that there needed to be more of a move or the type of stocks that I would choose. They did make me feel comfortable, but the ones that had the 4-hour plus position sizes, those are the ones that I wanted to let run to the end of the day. And that's because most of the time they were some type of multi-day runner. Now, with these multi-day runners, they are different than the parabolics, the gappers that just go up and come right back down. When you see those 4-hour plus trades, that's usually the sign of me aiming for that back end. During these breakdowns, you have to see there is a lot of volume trapped at the top. It usually starts with an accumulation at the bottom, a parabolic, and a consolidation. After those three parts, then you have a breakdown of that consolidation, and all the volume that was in that parabolic flips on its head, and then it doubles down after more people enter during the consolidation. What it looks like to me is a flag falling over. Now, when that flag falls, I like to be somewhere in that consolidation. Now, if I enter on the spike, I always enter a very small portion of my borrows, and into the consolidation, I like to scale more. After I see the breakdown, then I will add all my size into it. Now, my risk will pretty much be my initial entry. I'll be in the stock at the point where people are starting to forget about the stock, or they don't want to trade this anymore because we're in the last 2 hours. That's after we had some type of topping pattern and the momentum is leaving the chart. In my first year, I was one of the early shorts, the ones that came in during the accumulation phase. I was a part of the squeeze and lost money. I will be in some $2 stock. Normally it's a biotech, a cancer play, an energy stock. It could be anything that's a viral topic, and I'll be down there waiting for this to drop because I see a small resistance at a similar level. Next thing I know, it doubles from where I entered. Next time, I went to the top of the spike, or where I thought the top would be. Well, then there turned out to be a consolidation, and then I will be oversized. And because I'm oversized, I feel too nervous that if I make one mistake, I blow up my account. So we had kind of a dead week. There wasn't a lot to talk about. We did have DWAC, but it didn't have enough range. We wanted to trade around 60, but it waited till the end of the day to get to that point. Same thing with RBSN. It waited to the end of the day. There's not enough rest of the day for the stock to come back down. It's not a good short. Same thing with ACON. It came down, but it never went back up. There's not enough range, so the risk reward is off. Sad week, really. Trading sometimes is a zero-sum game, and because of that, we need to have excellent trade selection. Here's 3 new mistakes. 1, you're oversizing. 2, you're entering early. And 3, you get scared out. So if we look at it this way, there's trader 1 that got squeezed inside of the parabolic. There's trader 2 that tried to guess the top. There's trader 3 that tried to oversize in the consolidation and he risked the top. I'd rather be that fourth guy that just waits for the topping pattern to form and there to be a panic inside of that consolidation. If we see a panic plus a topping pattern, like a lower high, at that point, then we can put all the money inside of the stock and ride it to the end of the day. Now, if you talk about 2024, where there's a small amount of traders, well, it's little liquidity on top of a shortage of traders, meaning the market's dead. Now, if we're looking in the pre-market, everyone's going to focus on the top gainer because the top gainer is the only one with some sort of liquidity. And when it changes places, all the liquidity from that top gainer goes into its replacement. And because of that, we've seen setups like pre-market massive resistances. When I talk about pre-market, especially a micro float, a biotech, anything with a lot of volatility inside of the pre-market, I don't touch anything in the pre-market unless it has a massive resistance. When we talk about pre-market as well as micro floats, there's something they have in common. They treat resistance as well as support as a joke. But if you see a massive, obvious resistance that's in the pre-market or some historic resistance while you're trading in the pre-market, it's hard not to notice that. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. I like to have resistance plays in the first 2 hours. But if I ever trade in the pre-market, it's only one setup. It's a massive resistance. We're talking something I consider an unbreakable resistance. Without that, you will never catch me trading in the pre-market, especially early in the pre-market. But another one of my mistakes when I was in my first year in trading, I would trade in the pre-market when I would see a resistance. I would see something with a 4 million resistance and I would get squeezed. I would see something with the 50 million resistance and I would get squeezed. And there was no consistency in terms of what made it not respect that resistance, other than it was in the pre-market, because eventually it would retest the same resistance multiple times before it actually decided to go back down. But I would get juked on the first or the second, sometimes even the third time. At the end of the day, we wanted to make things clear. If we only focus on massive resistances inside of the pre-market, we don't have to worry about all the early stuff. We could just focus on intraday trades. And when it comes to the intraday trades, those first 2 hours, that's the bread and butter, because that's where 30% of the entire stock volume is going to be traded. And with that liquidity, it leads to shifts because we get overextension in very crowded stocks. Now, with your entire first year, you can create a discretionary skill. You can build intuition. You're gonna have to figure out your trading personality and trade accordingly. But all right, guys, that's all I got for you today. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.